comorbidities. So our speaker today is a third-year internal medicine resident at St. Peter's University Hospital, New Jersey, with a growing passion for gastroenterology and hepatology. He's a graduate of Namdazikwe University, where he ranked in the top percentile of his class in 2018. He began his medical career in Nigeria, where he practiced for 3 years, an experience that afforded him an understanding of clinical medicine within sub-Saharan African unique healthcare landscape. Following the global pandemic, he pursued and completed a fully funded Master of Public Health program. This experience has broadened his perspective on patient care and strengthened his expertise in population health, research, and data analysis. During this time in Tennessee, he also underwent multiple hands-on clinical rotations that helped prepare him for residency. Beyond his clinical and academic pursuits, he has demonstrated a long-standing commitment to leadership and mentorship. He previously served as the President Association and Vice President of the Nigerian Medical Student Association, both roles through which he championed advocacy, collaboration, professional development, and welfare among young medical trainees. Today, he continues to combine his clinical acumen, research interest, and leadership experience to inspire the next generation of physicians, especially international medical graduates navigating their own journey in medicine. In today's talk, he will be drawing on his unique path as an IMG to share personal struggles, practical strategies, and lessons learned. He will also be offering vital insight into navigating the USMLE exam, securing clinical experiences, residency application process, and excelling in residency, providing powerful encouragement for others on the same journey. Outside of medicine, he enjoys cooking, playing FIFA, pickleball, and spending time with family and friends. Please join me to welcome Dr. Chisom Nwaneki. Dr. Chisom, you have the floor.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. And can we mute Bolu? Bolu Sefe Olatunji, can we please?
Please unmute yourself, Dr. Nwaneki.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm very pleased to be here tonight to share my journey with you guys and to, offer my insights towards like the journey that you guys are currently undertaking at this point. There's no point going about myself anymore. First of all, I want to start with thanking Dr. Joey for what he's doing in the lives of thousands of IMGs, including myself and everyone here. And then I'll just head straight to why we're here today. So our discussion will be in five key areas. The first thing I would do is just to take a couple of minutes to share my journey with you guys, things I did and where I am right now, and then go into the match process. I believe everyone here have written the exams, and everyone here must have applied for the residency, focusing on interviewing, ranking, matching, and post-match outcomes. And then we'll move from there, we'll move to thriving in residency, those first 6 months, and what comes after that. And then we'll conclude, and then we take questions from everyone. And I believe my hope and aim is to make this as interactive as possible. So please feel free to raise your hands and stop me at any point, okay? So like our host said, I was born and raised in Nigeria, Southeast Nigeria, precisely. Went to medical school there, and finished in 2018. And I practiced in Nigeria for 3 years. I was one of the firm believers in the country and the prospects of what it holds for us and for the future generations. But things changed for me during the pandemic and how, how the country fared like, overall in terms of the healthcare. So I picked interest to do public health. I was never the one to do USMLE per se because my background, both in medical school and everything, was much more towards leadership and health policies. So I wanted to come to the US to do a master's of public health and then possibly go back to Nigeria to help. And then I applied for master's of public health to a few programs. I applied to about five different programs, and this was 2019. When I was like towards the tail end of my housemanship. Um, then 2020, the pandemic hit. I couldn't go, and then 2021, I applied again. So this time I got a full scholarship from Eastern State University, and then I moved to the United States, fall of 2021. I had not written step one. I didn't even have any interest in USMLE initially. So when I came on campus, I met a group of young Nigerians as well who came here, but they came here for a different reason. And the aim was to use the master's as a pathway to, you know, study for their USMLE exams and apply for residency. I I was like, I caught on the dream and I caught on the goal. And thankful to them, I joined and we started studying together and we wrote our exams, you know, within the 2 years of the master's and we applied to the match together. And thanks to God, we're all able to match. I think everyone in that group who applied with us, about seven of us matched that year. So in 2023, I started residency in Central Jersey. And by God's grace, I'm in final year of residency right now, and I'm currently interviewing for gastroenterology fellowship across the country. So, for me, the key things that really defined my journey is mentorship, and mentorship. Because it's not enough to be hardworking, it's not enough to be dedicated to what you do. I believe everyone here who has gotten to this point has that. It's the key thing is having the right information and knowing where to channel that energy. So, and that was really what helped me along this journey. Now, that is about my journey and where I am right now. Now, coming to the match process. Everyone here, I believe, have written their exams. Everyone here have applied for the residency positions. I'm not sure what specialties that you all applied to, but when I applied, I did dual application and I did OBGYN and internal medicine. And if you look at my ERAS application, you could see clearly that this guy wants to do OBGYN. Internal medicine was more like backup. So that was how I went all in. I put in my applications like that. And I got I got interviews. I got interviews in OBGYN. I got interviews in OBGYN and I got interviews in internal medicine. I think I got five interviews OBGYN, five internal medicine. And the key things during my interviews, um, or after my interviews, when I ranked my programs depending on how I felt around the place. For me, I was open to doing both. I wanted OB-GYN more, but I was open to doing both. So I sandwiched my programs, two, three OB-GYNs, two internal medicine. There are a couple of OB-GYN programs that appeared really toxic that I wanted to put down the list. So, but eventually I ended up matching internal medicine and then I started residency. Um, so back to the match process. We're currently during the interviewing phase. And the key thing here is the way the interviews come. And I want to talk about my own experience. So I didn't get any interviews up until October 27. That was my first interview because pretty much because most of the OB/GYN programs they release interviews on one day. Like they start releasing interviews from late in October. So everyone around me were getting interviews, five, six, four. Anxiety setting. I became really anxious. I became really anxious. I became, you know how, things can happen, worries and everything set in. But of course, I knew that OB/GYN would take some time, and I knew that the internal medicine that I applied to, they're going to see my application as this guy doesn't want to be here, bro, eventually. So it was really tough. I'm hinting on this because some of you may be in my situation where the interviews are not coming, or you may have got just one, and everyone is getting five, seven, eight. The key thing I want to say at this point that really helped was I had someone reminding me that, listen, is there anything I can change about this process right now? The answer is no. Would my worry change anything about the process? The answer is no. So they kept reminding me, and eventually the interviews came. Now, I'm sure almost everyone here have sent out letter of interest and everything to programs. Whether it helps or not, nobody can say. Nobody has done any clinical trial to see if it works or if it doesn't work. But at the end of the day, some people say don't do it, some people say do it. I did. I sent letter of interest to about my top 20 programs, you know, because at the end of the day, you want to tell yourself that you did everything you could, right? So, and then the interviews started coming, and during my interview processes, we had small groups of people where every day we do interview preps every day, except maybe someone is sick or except something happens, it has to be something really important that we end up postponing the interviews. So we did interviews every day, and that way it helped us to internalize and get the best of the answers. Because at the end of the day, there's something people always told me, and I now tell people who I mentor that all you need is one interview. And in that one interview, you give it your best shot. It's your first and your last shot. So if you have 10 interviews, each of them you treat them as your one and only. So that was the principle behind us practicing interviews every day. And it did help because I remember none of my 10 interviews, none of them went bad. Like I had really, really good interviews. You end up connecting with the faculty who you're interviewing with, and you make your answers sound less robotic. If you know how, even if you're lying, you know how if you tell a lie very frequently, it starts to sound like a truth. So you can imagine saying something that is really true about you, saying something that like selling your dream very often, it ends up becoming a part of you, it becomes second nature. So that was really important for us doing that daily interview preps. Even when I had zero interviews, we were doing it. So do not wait until you get one interview to do interview preps. And then for your interviews, take your time. Every program will send you the names of people you're interviewing with at least 48 hours before your interview. Take some time, 30 minutes, 1 hour, research on the various faculties that you're going to interview with. Pretty much just know where they went to medical school, where they did residency, their research interests, if they are heavy on research or not. It's a simple search. Type their name on Google, most things will show up. How to know their research interests? Type Dr. Joey Ike PubMed. Dr. Joey Ike Google Scholar. Just search it. all their works, you see them on Google Scholar, and you can see are they research heavy or not. That is one way to prepare for your interview. Get to know draft, have a draft for each of the interviewers. And what this does for you is that it prevents you from asking them stupid questions. I'm sorry to use the word stupid, but some questions are really stupid. So you go to a community program, you're asking the faculty, what are the research opportunities in this place? You go to a university program and you're asking them, does the program provide opportunity for um, to teach and mentor medical students? It's a university program, though they have medical students rotating with them. So, preparing for the interview, really makes you stand out at the end of the day. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what. Please give me a second. I have to fix something.
Yes.
All right, so I think probably in the meantime, so I think it was talking about Chisom is talking about uh, interview, the kind of questions that you go
Okay.
to programs to ask. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I'm back. So preparing for an interview, like I said, first of all, research about the people you're interviewing with. Second of all, you know, study the program, go to the website, reach out to residents in the program, um, gather information about the program. It helps you to like know the program you're interviewing with and how to approach the interview with them. Then also, the next step is when on the day of the interview, the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, the program director, what he does is to also talk about the program. Please pay close attention, take notes if possible, so that you avoid asking them questions on something that already has been said. I know it may not mean anything to some programs. Some programs take note of that. For example, program tells you that they like during the general session, they tell you once they give you all sorts of the information that they have, and then you go on to interview the program director. You're asking him the support the program provides for residents for research, like when maybe in his presentation he has already mentioned it. Some program directors may not find that, intelligent. So these are the ways to prepare for the interviews, and then you can prepare based on your analysis and based on your pre-interview analysis, you can prepare personal targeted questions to the faculties because at the end of the day, they're going to ask you, do you have any questions for us? So what preparing really well before your interview does for you is that it limits the possibilities of you asking them generic questions like that everyone else is going to ask. Okay. Um, for example, if you're interviewing with a program and the faculty has been there for 30 years, you know, you may want to ask them, like, what has been the key thing, like because people change jobs in this country a lot. So what has been, like central to him or her being in this place for that long? Just you have to. The only way to ask this kind of questions is if you've looked into the website and looked into the person and gotten to know them at least to the barest minimum, okay? That's the interview preparation. And then on the day of the interviews, it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes maximum with each of the faculty. So they're going to ask you general questions. There are questions that for sure you expect to get. Tell me about yourself, why internal medicine, why family medicine, um, why this program, what are your long-term goals? These are questions for sure you're going to get on any interview you go for. So again, if you do your daily practices, you should be able to draft an answer that becomes a part of you for each of these questions. And then for each program you interview with, you tweak it based on that program's peculiarities, right? For example, if I'm asked, what are my long-term goals? If I'm interviewing with a university GI program, I'm saying that my long-term goals is to be a gastroenterologist in a clinical academic position where I'll have the opportunity to teach and mentor young fellows and residents alike. If you're in a community program that maybe you've spoken with the fellow or resident and they're saying that, this program, they're not really keen on fellowships and everything. You kind of you modify your answer to suit that. So that's pretty much about preparing for the interview. And then um after the interviews, a lot of people send post-interview thank you notes to program directors and the programs and the faculties that they interviewed with. Go ahead and do that. Almost everyone does that, except if the program as in categorically tells you that keep your thank you cards or notes to yourself, like do not send anything to us. Then you should not, just so you do not come and so you do not just put yourself in a bad light. Um, so that's about post-interview. And one thing I wanted to say here is this: once you gotten an interview, at that point, your scores, everything, your publications, everything doesn't matter anymore. At the interview level, they are looking for someone whose personality, someone whose ideologies fit to what the program is trying to build. And they're going to know that by the way you talk, the way the answers you give, and that would influence how you rank. At the level of ranking, I've spoken to a lot of program directors. At the level of ranking, nobody looks at your step scores anymore. Nobody looks at the number of publications you have. So that is something I wanted to chip in at the level of interviews. And then when all the interviews are done, people send letter of intent. For example, if there's a program you really want to go to and you're ranking at number one, it's okay to say that, listen, I've done my interviews and I feel like your program is going to be the best place for me to train. I'm going to be ranking your program number one, and I hope to train here. People do that, and some people also say you can email your top three, but number one, you can say you're my top, your number one program. The top three, you can say you're top of my list of ranking, however you want to phrase it. Does it work? I do not know. Did I do it? Yes, I will do it over and over again because, like I said, at the end of the day, you want to say to yourself, I did my best. I did everything I could. Um, so that's about letter of intent, and then you keep hoping and praying until the match day in March. Now we're still in November, first day of November. So it's a really long process from when you submitted the applications in September up until March. It's a long, long process that can cost you your mental health. It's a long process that can even I'm not a psychiatrist like Dr. Joey, but I know that a lot of people end up with anxiety problems following the match because for most of us, we have very complex journeys. We have different, paths that we took to get to this point. So, and we all really want to do well for ourselves and for our families and for people who look up to us. So, I've been through the process. I understand how it felt going through it. This is one part that I wanted to hint on before I move into thriving in residency. Please protect your mental health. Please protect your mental health. The anxiety is too much. Do not compare yourself with anybody. Do not ask people how many interviews they have. There's no point. It doesn't change how many interviews you yourself you're going to get. It doesn't change who is going to match. It doesn't change anything. Stay in your circle, support yourselves, do things that make you happy, stay healthy, eat healthy, exercise often. Just protect yourself during this time. Because when you end up matching, residency is going to be a different entire story at the end of the day. So I cannot overemphasize this part. Now, in March, everyone gets to match, and then that's my prayer and that's my belief for everyone here. Everyone here matches, and then what next? Now, depending on where you're going, depending on what your specialty is and what you're going to do, the match between March and June is the time for you to, relax, be grateful for your journey, you know, have fun. Also, some people have done between March and June is to begin to prepare themselves for intern year. So intern year, I didn't do that. In hindsight, I could have done that. Yes. I didn't do that because if I did that, I wouldn't have struggled in my first 3 months of residency, which I will get into. And so between March and June, if you have some time, for example, those who are going to match in medicine, you can start to read, broad basic, like what's it called? Mix up broad basic. Mix up is like the ACP's resource for internal medicine physicians and residents. So there's a broad basic where you can read up small topics on common things that you're going to see on the floors as a resident. It helps a lot because we are coming from a resource limited countries. What we practice in Nigeria is not medicine. I'm sorry to say. We have the theory, but we don't practice medicine. So, we don't do guidelines-based as medicine like where we come from. So it's going to be an adjustment in the first 6 months. If you have time, if you have the energy between the match and starting residency, it's good to start just reading. It doesn't require any intense reading. Just looking at common topics, what the guidelines says, how to approach them. These are the things that are going to help you on the floors when you start. Then, when you start, there are a few things that I wish someone told me before I started residency. One of them is showing up every day and showing up on time. These are they are non-negotiables. 5 minutes late, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, before you know it, you're known for that is the reputation the program will have of you. It's not that it is who you are, it's just an impression that they will have. And those first impressions do not always, it's really hard to erase. Showing up, showing up on time every day, you know, identifying. So I don't know how to say this, but let me put it in internal medicine context. When you step into a program, you show up, have that reputation that this guy is a reliable person, that you're not going to make the work harder than it is already for the next person. So showing up, being there on time, identifying your interest in that particular specialty, being competent in taking care of your patients. These things within the first 6 months, if you build a very good reputation in the program, it's going to influence the way your residency goes. It's going to influence the way your program sees. It's going to influence the support you're going to receive from your program for the next 3 years. And then, of course, residency is all about reading. So you have to keep reading. Like I said, you have to start reading before residency. You have to keep reading to just to keep to excel and take care of the patient. Which is pretty much why we're here. Now, for those that may want to do fellowship, It is okay that you know what you want to do now. It is fine. When you start residency, please do not start from day one to start making noise about fellowship. Your first job in residency is to become a competent whatever physician you're doing. Like if it's pediatrics, your first job is to become a competent pediatrician. If it's IM, your first job is to become a competent internist. So do not let the program see you as being overly, ambitious that you're starting residency. You haven't even learned where the bathroom is. The only thing you're talking about is how you want to do cardiology. Like I said, take the first 3 months to establish a reputation that you are a reliable, intern. And then from the fourth month, you can begin to indicate interest that this is what you want to do. And identify mentors in second or third year class who are going in the same direction that you're going and start to work with them. I think pretty much. And then the other key things that I also learned in my first year is this. A lot of programs you're going to go to are going to be multicultural. So different people from different cultures. You have to be culturally competent to accommodate people from different cultures without being, without being mean. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put this, but you have to learn and understand how to work with people from different backgrounds because you do not want to, again, to be labeled as something negative in your program at all. Second thing I wanted to say about first 6 months in residency is that nobody is your friend at work. When you start residency, you come in, smile with everyone, be happy, you work, go home. Nobody's your friend. Nobody's your brother or sister in residency. You may end up making those friends and brotherhood towards the end, but beginning, please just stay on your lane. Do not bitch about anything with anybody. Because at the end of the day, you, the black person, is going to be the scapegoat. So avoid discussing anything, anybody, any faculty, anything in the program with any of your co-residents. You can, when you go home, you can call your friends wherever they are and bitch about whatever you want to bitch about. But please do not do that with your co-residents because they are going to use you to go buy favor with the program leadership. These are the key things that that I learned within my first 6 months of residency that has really helped me to navigate the rest of the years in residency. And by God's grace, it's been a very smooth sailing so far. So one other key thing that I think I forgot to mention, which I don't think is really important at this point, is research. I know people have submitted applications and all whatnot. It's something that I am interested in, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. So research has become really helpful, has become one of the things that they use, programs now use to judge people, and it has, made it almost like a compulsory thing to have while you're applying. I know a lot of us are not very good in research, like when we started from medical school up until this point. But the way to approach research is if you have an interest, if you really want to do research, you can always identify people around you on the internet anywhere who are actively involved in research and actively seek mentorship in research. Because research is, it's the more you do, the better you get. That's the one thing. Seek out mentorship in research, particularly if you're interested, if it's something you really want to do, particularly if you want to do fellowship after your residency. you need to find someone to mentor you in research. You don't have to have a master's in public health. You don't have to have anything. There are free online courses that you can take to have the basic background knowledge of research so that when you're reaching out to mentors, you can say that I have this knowledge and I'm hoping to use it to help whatever projects you're currently doing. So doing that course is going to help you that if that mentor eventually takes you on and gives you a task to do, you should be able to complete those tasks. And a lot of people reach out to me and to other people and say, I'm interested in research, blah, 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 blah. You give them something to do, 2 months, they haven't gotten back to you. So that is one aspect. Reach out to mentors. Do free online courses. You don't have to pay for anything. There are lots of courses online on Coursera. I can find the link and share it on the group after this talk that you can get basics of research. Get the training, watch the videos online, and start doing one or two things on your own while looking for mentors. It's at this point, it may seem futile to you, but if in the middle of residency you decide that you want to do fellowship, research also becomes something that you must do to apply for fellowship, regardless of whatever fellowship you're applying for. Okay? So this, in a nutshell, is if you a key like a general overview of the things that I believe have been very instrumental to my journey and my progress so far in medicine. And I really wish you all the best. And I hope that by the end of this session that I, I was or would be able to help in whatever way that you feel I can. So at this point, I would open up the session to questions. I am I'll be here to take whatever question, whatever thoughts or comments you have, whatever, like about anything at all. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Dr. Nwaneki, for that insightful talk. Short but powerful. Any questions, guys? Please put your questions in the comments. And if you want to ask your questions live, you can indicate by using the hand raise feature.
So I think someone already put a question on the group chat, so I'm going to read it. Sir, do you need visa? Also, please, did you get a lot of GI interviews, and what did you do to obtain too many GI interviews? I'm still applying for residency. Okay, Chidubem. All right. So yes, I'm on a J1 visa. So yes, I do need visa. Did I get a lot of GI interviews? I wouldn't call it a lot. It's single digit, but it's given the season the way the season is, it's it's a very good number of interviews that I have. And what did I do to obtain those number of interviews? It's pretty much first of all, fellowship application is different from residency application because so what I did simple. First of all is after my first 6 months of residency, it was very clear in my program that I wanted to do GI. So I did a lot of GI electives in my hospital. I worked with all the GI faculties in my hospital. Then I did a lot of GI research. A lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Publications, about 8 or 9 publications in GI with almost 20 or 30 abstracts. First author about 10, but collaborations with other people about 20. So a lot of GI research. And then I attended almost every GI conference for the last 2 years. ACG, DDW, ACG. So in those conferences, I networked, I met different people from different programs. So, but this is fellowship. Fellowship is an entirely different ball game. So I don't think it's worth it boring you guys with the whole fellowship process. But like I said, it's an entirely different process.
For some reason, I can't see the chat from my end. Is that the
Yeah,
only question in the chat?
yeah, that's the only question from Chidubem.
Yeah, I don't see any
Oh,
question.
sorry, no. So they sent it to me as a private message.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I'm like, where did you read that from? That
Yeah,
is in the
it was
general chat
it
here.
was a private message.
Okay, okay, all right. Yeah, guys, put in your questions, and if you want to ask directly, you can raise up your hand, use the hand raise feature. And for the seniors who are also on the call, please feel free to chime in. Any questions, guys?
I'm sure people have questions because as soon as you leave now, then people start
Okay,
start. Okay,
Stephanie has
Stephanie.
a
Okay,
hand
okay. I
raised.
got okay. Sorry, Stephanie. Just 1 second. I got another personal message. I'm not going to mention their name. Said they would like to be anonymous. But what is your opinion about raising a family during residency? Yeah. So I don't know about raising a family. I don't have kids yet, but um, I within residency before residency I got engaged. Within residency, I did my wedding. So I don't know about having a family and the size of your family, but it's going to be a lot. Residency is a lot of hours. So it's going to be a lot, but it's doable. People are doing it. It also helps if your spouse is working as well, because you need a lot of money for daycare and childcare, except you have relative in this country, right? So there are lots of factors about raising a family within residency. So I may not be the best person to speak to it since I don't have kids yet, but from my colleagues that I've worked with, they spend quite a bit of money to get nannies, particularly if the two are in like I have two co-residents who are married, like they are married, we are in the same program, so they are both residents. So they have to pay a nanny, a living nanny to take care of their son. So if the both of you are working, it's very doable. Very, very doable. You can take care of that. And also if you have family in the US, you can always, make things better, but it's very doable. It doesn't compromise the quality of your training or how well you do it. Yeah, so Laura and I think someone else raised their hands.
Yeah, I think she dropped her hand.
Laura,
Hi, this is Laura. I was going to contribute to the thing of raising a family during
okay,
residency, speaking
okay,
from
great.
my personal experience when I was a resident. So, the things you need to ask yourself, are you the male or are you the female in this, whatever relationship you have with the kids? That's one. Secondly, is your spouse with you or are you single parenting? Thirdly, do you have other sources of income? But the major thing in having family is support, because that was what helped me when I was a resident. You need tons and tons and tons of support. It's not something that is impossible, it's very doable. And in fact, you can do it without any stress. But you need to have support and you need to brace up yourself for the challenge. Don't see it as a setback or something that is going to affect you negatively. See it as something positive, because if you successfully finish residency with kids, you're coming out a stronger person. You're actually a stronger resident than those of your classmates that just did it single without any kids or any family.
Mm.
So there are so many factors to it, but you need to sit down and write out the things that you feel may challenge your situation as a resident with family, but it is something that is easily doable. But number one on the top of your list should be consider your support strongly. Thank you.
Thank you so
Laura,
much,
Laura
Laura.
didn't, Laura didn't tell us that you're wrapping up pediatrics anesthesiology, right, in Stanford.
Oh God, Jovi. I used to stay in background.
He didn't tell us. He
Leave
didn't
me
tell us
alone.
to that. you're one of the chief residents in Cook County anesthesiology
Oh
before.
my
Oh my
goodness.
God.
So, I
Joey,
mean,
good night.
Wait,
you're making it sound like you're done
the,
with training, but hey, you're literally not done, and you've done this thing,
Yeah.
with minimal support. I mean, I give kudos to you. Laura, are you still in charge of that group that we formed at some point for to kind of help?
The group is still there. Every once in a while, people put in messages, but people figure out their lives and then they just move on. That's what I've noticed. But yeah, the group is still open. There's a support group for females with families.
Families? Okay.
Mhm.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jerry.
Thank you.
all right. I think we have couple more questions. So how long is the interview and can you laugh during the interview? So how long the interview is, it depends on programs by program. So most of the programs I've interviewed with have the interviews, I've never seen an interview that has lasted more than 30 minutes. Maybe I stand to be corrected, but like I don't know. I've never had an interview more than 30 minutes. So, like, I mean, with one faculty. So it depends. If you're interviewing with four different faculties, it could be shorter. If you're interviewing with only three, it could be 30 minutes or more. So, for instance, if a program has five people that you're going to interview with, they make it shorter, like 20 minutes, so that they can cover those five faculties and then also get to meet the other candidates. If it's two or three faculties interviewing in one day, then it could be longer, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, right? And then can you laugh during the interview? Yes, it depends on how the interview goes. It depends on how the interview goes. Uh, some people have said that, interviews that, that become more informal tend to have better outcomes. So it depends on how the interview goes, but don't go cackling. You can laugh, like, and regain your composure. But um it all depends on how the interview goes. Then I think we have another question that says some people say that you shouldn't research on the faculty that would interview you since they may see it as stalking. I don't know who defined that word as stalking. I don't think so. The faculty has your application, they know about you. And if the program sends you the names of people you're interviewing with, I think it's called doing your due diligence. And you're not researching the street where they live. So stalking, I don't know, stalking means you're literally following somebody for like beyond what is generally acceptable. For example, you're going to see where they live or going to scoop out their address or where their kids go to school. That is stalking. But doing a Google search to see their research interest is not stalking. So I don't know who has told you that it's stalking, but maybe the other senior colleagues here can give their opinions. But I've researched every faculty I've interviewed with, and nobody has ever had any problem with it. Maybe the way you present it may seem as stalking, but if you tell someone, for example, Laura, if I'm interviewing with Laura and I'm saying, hi, doctor, no, or like when they say any questions from me and I say, Dr. Laura, I see that you're, I no, I was really impressed with your work on pediatric anesthesia outcomes, and just if you mention one of their key studies that they've done, it doesn't. I don't think it qualifies as talking. I think Laura has something else to say.
Yeah, I was just going to add, you see, in this country, what may have noticed too is that people like to talk about themselves. So if an interviewer is asking me any question, I'm like, oh, hi, Dr. So and so. I saw that you finished residency from this program and you remained. Please, can you tell me the things in this program that made you really want to stay here? They will keep talking until the next thing you hear is time up. You did not even
Yeah,
have time to even talk.
yeah.
So I'm not aware that it is stalking, but I think it gives the interviewer an insight into your kind of personality, your kind of person, to let them know that, okay, you are quite an inquisitive person. You even bother to go read about them. I remember one of my interviews, my interviewer did something on doing in extrauterine in utero surgery. It's not very common yet. And I mentioned it. Oh, she was not like, oh, really? I was just recording the vitals. I wasn't really part of the team. But it's so good to know that you found, I didn't know they put my name on that study, and she went on and on and on about it. So I don't think it's stalking because I'm not like, hey, I found out that you live on number 10 Westwood Street. That
Yeah.
one is stalking.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
There was a
Yeah,
place that
Dr. Ade is echoing on the comment section. During my time, I also checked up everyone and bring it up, and they matched as well. So I don't think he's talking. Trust me, he's not talking.
Bros, as in last, let me see what asked that question so I can direct the question to the who asked that question. I think was
Sedinam,
Emily.
Sedinam.
Yes, it was myself. I'm steady now.
Okay. So last, we want you to, by this time next year, I want you to be on the other side and be telling people it's not stopping because you've been trying to.
Yes, so
Yeah.
maybe I should give you a bit of context. So one of my interview prep sessions, um, so when we're done, they asked, "Oh, do you have any questions for us?" And then my colleague went ahead to ask that, "Oh, I read about this and this," and the mentor was of the view that maybe the question was too personal. So
Can you give more
Can
context?
you,
either
yes, can you share the question? What was the
I
question?
can't recall, honestly. I
Okay.
can't recall. I wish I could recall. I can't recall the question in particular. But the person thought that the question was too personal, and the interviewer may see it as like you're trying to get into their personal space too much.
Yeah. Yeah, so um for example, like so the research yeah, like Laura said in the chat, keep the research professional. For example, I'm researching where did you do fellowship? I'm giving you an example for myself. If you did fellowship, like if where did you do fellowship, where did you do residency? Where did you do that's all. Residency fellowship. What research like I mentioned, go to Google Scholar, put in their name and just see their work and see if the two of you have done any similar research. For example, if someone has done something on breast cancer and you've had a project on breast cancer, you can share it. You're looking for a way to create a common ground with this interviewer to so that they remember you because they interview like 50 people every year. So then you need to stand out in one way or the other.
I was also going to add too. I guess I don't know what the question that person was asking. If the person is saying, "Oh, I see that you're married with 4 kids. As a matter of fact, you were divorced, and this, as we speak now, you are even, in your seventh husband's house and stuff like that, right?" So of course that would be like so more personal, but you're not going to say any of those things. Like they said, just keep it very professional. And then you can also add like a preamble to say, oh, when I was researching, or I was just reading a little bit more about you online, so that way you've disclosed what, where you go to source of information, or maybe, or like one of my friends that actually is in your program was senior. But of course, like we say, always make sure you check in with that person in residency. So that way, if they don't like that person, of course, you're already stabbing yourself, right? You don't want to do that. And then one other thing too, there was more recently I was practicing with coordinators on like a special group. And one of the questions, I asked one of those questions that, uh, are you married? Right? And it's intentional because people have been asked that question before, or I ask question like, what other specialties are you applying to? Right? That was also intentional. There's another question I asked to say, hey, another personal question, right? And all these questions they come up during residency. So I know if you follow by the book by the boom, they will say those are illegal questions to ask, like you shouldn't ask them. But so I saw one of the person that answered that question, it was frozen. And at some point, it was like, sir, I think that is not an appropriate question to ask, right? But as soon as you tell me that, keep in mind, I'm the one that have the upper hand because I'm the
Yes.
one scoring you.
Yeah.
If I perceive you as being disrespectful or something, I'm going to be the one to score. I'll score you 0/10. Now, some other people may not have the experience, but they may ask me, "Oh, Dr. Joey, why did you score this person 0/10?" I say, "Well, this person was just totally off." Nobody's going to go back to check. Right? So you don't approach it that way. You can approach it in a more like a nicer way, a friendly way, without necessarily asking that question or answering in such a way to say, we are not going to say, well, actually, sir, they told me this is completely wrong. You shouldn't ask that question. Right? You cannot say that because they know you're going to. So you cannot have developed styles like quickly, or sometimes they catches you unawares instead of looking stunned. You could say, oh, do you mind rephrasing that question again? It kind of buys you time to quickly process what you want to say and how best you want to respond. I'm going to let Chinelo go. We have another chief resident in the house. Can you show your face?
Oh my God, Chief Joey. Good evening, everyone. Okay, I'm gonna show my face. Um, so just to add to that, I totally agree with what everyone said. I know I had the same encounter the year I matched because I did follow my programs on all social media handle, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I saw that they just congratulated the APD then because she had an MBA. So when she said, "Do you have any question for me?" I just jumped and said, "Congratulations on your MBA." And then she said, "I see you're stalking me." Right. So, but I quickly kind of changed it and was like, "No, I follow the program on the LinkedIn, and I saw that, and I just wanted to figure out because she's a female like me, and I'm like, I was impressed with all the things you've achieved doing this, doing that, and also doing this MBA, and I wanted to just kind of inquire. I just continued my question from there. So I would say it depends on the question that comes with whatever you found out. I agree that finding a common ground for you all to talk on makes you more memorable and they remember you from that. So it depends on the question you ask. So don't go asking like Dr. Joey said, how many children or how many husbands do you have? That would be my own contribution. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chinelo.
Thank you, Dr. Nero.
Please, if more questions.
Somebody's typed, Dr. Laura typed here that they can also ask you which other program have you received interview invites from?
Yeah, those are some unprofessional questions that program directors can ask you, and it's up to you to navigate that question without coming off as as rude or as unprepared. It's a very personal question. So the way you approach it, you just have to you play politics with it. I think one PD asked me that in one of the GI interviews. And you so the what I no they were like, how many interviews have you got so far? And I said, I have a handful of interviews, and I've because you don't want to be the me self no small. So you don't want to be the you don't want to we are used to playing the humble card. You self no small. You have to again, the program they're trying to get the best of the candidates. You're trying to get the best of the programs. So, you don't have to sound rude or, pompous, but you play the politics there. My response was, the season has been quite eventful. I have a handful of interviews and which I've done, and I have a few more to go. But I'm really like enjoying my time, like learning more about your program and your faculty members. Thank you very much. So you play it and you keep it like that. I didn't give her a number. I didn't give her anything, but
Someone says during an interview, can you say this is my first interview?
if it is, if it is for sure, if it is, there's no point lying or if it is for sure. You say this is my first interview. No, don't say this is my only interview. You can say this is my first interview. I have some more like interviews lined up in the coming days and weeks.
Same person says, can you also say Can you also say that in the interview that I'll be so happy to match in this program?
Um, I'm going to give my own perspective, and the seniors in the house can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong or if I derail. So, like I mentioned when I was talking, even if you have 20 interviews, please treat everyone as your one and only. The goal is to match. Where you match is now secondary. So when I'm interviewing with the program, towards the end, I end my interviews with gratitude, no matter even if they say time is up. I say, thank you once again for the opportunity to get to know me and for me to get to learn about the program. I've had quite a wonderful time interviewing with your program, and I really look forward to training in this program under your leadership, if it's the program director, or under your mentorship, if it's the faculty. Because if you don't want to be there, why are you now interviewing? This is what I'm saying. You have to express gratitude, you have to express enthusiasm that you want to train there. Because that's, again, it's an interview, you're there to get the job. So if you didn't even want to come to the program, why are you now interviewing? This is pretty much the way I approach interviews. So I don't know if I am wrong or right. And the seniors can also chime in.
Yeah, I feel like that's the right approach. For me, every interview is my only interview. I don't care if I had 10 more, 11 more, but every interview is my only interview. And I want to give them the impression that I want them as much as they want me. I'm not giving out the vibes of desperation,
Yeah.
but I'm giving out the vibes of I really want you guys as much as you want me. I'm not going to give you the impression of, it's okay, no problem if you don't want me. Then why am I spending my time interviewing there then?
Exactly, yeah.
That's what I feel too.
Thank you, Dr. Lara. Dr. Stephanie, please unmute yourself.
Not voice of desperation, but celebration. I know Laura used to give us some quotable quotes in the past. Did you retire?
Joey, I don't know. I don't want to give vibes of desperation. That's what I do. Desperation, celebration, it rhymes. It's a good one.
Stephanie.
Yes, thank you so much. I have a question. You mentioned that if you're going for a community program and they ask you for your long-term, they ask you for your long-term goals, that you shouldn't be putting in fellowship in their thesis. How can you best approach that if you actually want to go into a fellowship program?
Okay, so it depends on the program you're interviewing with. Some community programs are really big and they encourage their candidates to go to fellowship. Like, for example, if you're in Cook County, there are lots of community programs that their residents like move on to go do fellowship, do big things, right? It depends. Some programs, and that's why it's really important to reach out to people in that program before you interview. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
If, for example, if you're interviewing with the program director who is an internist, who, there are PDs like that. I'm telling you, I met a couple during my interview season. They are just internal medicine physicians, and they are not very, they are not very supportive of, residents, going into fellowship. I don't know for whatever reasons they have. So you can say that you're interested in something, but your answer should be that your goal in the next 3 years is to come out as a competent, well-rounded internist, you know, prepared enough to take care of your patients in whatever setting, if it's in the hospital or outpatient setting. But that you also have interest, that I'm interested in cardiology, but it's something that I hope to explore during my residency training to see if I'll end up doing fellowship. I don't know, but my point is, do not, if it's a community program, it all depends on the program you're interviewing with. That's pretty much my answer.
Stephanie, we'll
Yes.
make sure Tennessee Highway Patrol don't stop you, and then you give us the ticket for us to pay for you. By the way, Chisom, she's also in East Tennessee.
Oh, my home.
Yes. They refused to give me interview at Quilino, but I'm still waiting.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. I think the PD is a white man now, right?
It's a white lady.
Yeah, white lady. Yeah. So they changed the other guy. There was one guy from Jordan that I don't know. He doesn't like black people. He just takes only his people.
Yes.
But yeah. I don't know. Did you have? So do you have a GA?
Yes, I do.
Who is your which department
But
do you
it's
have
in the
GA?
college of nursing, though.
Yeah, if you're a supervisor, if you're in good terms with them, you can have them email the PD.
Okay.
Let me tell you how I got my own interview with GI, ETSU GI program. My supervisor that I work with for my GA is a she's a professor in psychology department. So she emailed the GI program director and said, "Listen, I worked with this guy for 2 years during his master's, blah 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 blah. Please, he wants to come back to the region. Please, we need him around the area." The following morning, my interview came. So if you can have your supervisor who you're working with, if you're in very good terms with them, reach out to the program director via email. They see all those emails, they do see it. They may not reply your own, but if a faculty that you're working with if you just find the head of nursing there and have them reach out.
Sorry, I lost the network for a while, but I heard you saying about reaching out to my supervisor to send an email, but I don't know if you said anything other than that.
No, yeah, no, that's pretty much everything I said. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, good luck. Yeah, good luck with everything.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Especially Stephanie, I know the Department of Nursing, they also have some things to do. The JCMC, the other clinic that is
Yeah.
a same day clinic. What's the other one called? Not the JCMC, but there's another one
Ballard.
very close to Woodridge.
I'm not sure I know that one.
That place.
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So
there's a clinic or like urgent care that is run by nursing and some
exactly.
stands from the
Oh,
other.
the ETSC clinic.
Yeah.
There's
It's a
ETSU clinic. I think there's another one. There's another clinic.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you can, if the supervisor or if there's any physician that they work together with or you work together with, that would be the best. But even your supervisor alone, it doesn't have to be a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
I have one more question here.
Thank you.
It says, if they ask you why this program, can you also mention the benefits in terms of salaries, in addition to other qualities of the program?
I don't know. So I will attempt and then I'll let my chiefs answer as well. But if I'm correct, all the salaries of residents are almost the same across the whole country. So I don't think salary is something to mention in your reason to.
Not all salaries are the same.
Yeah.
Richmond is paying like
No,
100,000.
no, I'm serious. Like almost all, like the difference. I mean, what you take home.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I know what you take home every 2 weeks is pretty much the same, almost the same across board. And the only difference may be like for PGY3, and you'll be getting $200 more every 2 weeks than a PGY1 or $300 more. It's not so. I don't think salary is something to mention. There are lots of things you can bring in.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I agree also. And then also, I think what you may be referring to, Dr. Adetola, is like different parts of the country, right? How that northwest, no, what am I? Yeah,
Northeast, they earn the highest,
northeast.
but nothing. We don't save $1.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah,
relativity
yeah,
compared to the
yeah,
cost of living in
yes.
those areas also. Yeah. So you may be surprised that someone in Tennessee or South Carolina may get less, but they may end up still saving
Saving
more
more. Yeah,
than someone in California
or New
those
I
York.
was just even joking about that salary.
Yeah,
Well, in your response to salaries are the same,
yeah,
I've never been bothered about salaries. That's
exactly,
my
exactly.
least,
No, don't
least,
mention it, please. Just
yeah,
there are many other things
never
you can
been
mention
bothered.
about the program. I think
And
someone.
then Dr. Onuchukwu says he wants a clarification. You said ranking is done with interviews only and scores and other things are no longer considered. How is this done if residents interview a candidate and PD or chairman interview another? Whose ranking or whose assessment of that candidate will carry more weight during the ranking? In some program, the question asks are not streamlined. Can we have some insight into the scoring formula as an
Okay.
intern?
Okay, so let me give my own perspective. Because as a third year, I've been in touch with the selection committee in my program, and I can answer from my program's perspective. So every interviewer is given like there's a rubric, sort of. Every program have their own rubrics. What they do is there's a scoring system that they give for every interviewer. So they have your sheet, like they have a sheet for you in front of them. So when they're done, they document your score. And then they submit like so let's say you interviewed the four candidates, all the four of them, they'll give you a score. Then they get the average. So at the end of the day, they collect everybody's own together, and the program director, sees all that. I know ranking, again, your scoring in an interview is one thing. So if you do very well in your interviews, you're up there. Also, our program and most programs in the country, they do ranking meeting where the program leadership, PD and APDs and chief residents, they meet. And then they say, okay, this is the ranking so far from the interviews. Are there any modifications to this? If you annoyed someone during an interview, they can say, oh, no, this guy, no, please, this guy. Because if they gave you two and you end up having 10, 10, 10 in other people's own, and somehow you up there in the ranking list, someone can say, no, this guy shouldn't come here. And they will give a reason and then they'll take you down. So that is how it works. It's a scoring system, and then at the end of the day, they rank everybody according to the average you get across all the interviews you had. And then they do the ranking meeting and then they rearrange. For example, what I've been told as well about in the program that I interviewed with during residency was that you did well during the interview. After the interviews, you were ranked, yeah, you were ranked to match. But during the ranking meeting, they had to rearrange it. They brought up everyone who had a tie to the state, or everyone who, like, so many things can affect the ranking list eventually. But those things are not your scores. Trust me. Those things are not your research. It could be that the APD is saying that this person is my person, and I am their only support in this country. I need them here. They're going to rank higher than you, regardless of how you do well in the interview. So these are the nuances that come after the interview. But your scores it ends at the day you get your interview. This is my experience so far in my program.
To follow up, you
So
said,
is it required? No, like before.
no, I'm going to come to that question. I don't want to read this follow up.
Okay,
It
it
said,
said,
so Ima Madu plays a role. I don't know what that means. Like,
yeah,
what was Ima Madu in the first place?
so Imamad is just pretty much like, having strong connection to a program.
Oh, okay.
It it does. It does. Like if again, like I said, every program is trying to fill up their spots with the best candidates possible. Right? That's pretty much what I've learned from the process. Every program is trying to get the best of the candidates. Every candidate is trying to get the best of the programs. But at the end of it, nobody wants to go unmatched. So there are 50 people telling the program that I want to come here. Many of them do not really want to come there. They just want to match. You get. So if they find someone with really strong ties to the program, they may rank the person high, especially if the person has done so well in interviews and they have a very good score. So that's the direct answer to that. Yeah.
Before I read the other question on the chat, Dr. Zoe has a hand up. Dr.
Yeah.
Zoe, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I think they were talking about salary. So this week we were talking about one of the residents that came in for an interview and had the audacity to be asking about pay. And flat out, it was in one of the departments, and flat out, we were there saying she wasn't going to be ranked.
Exactly. Like,
So, just even if no matter how good she wasn't gonna be ranked. And this whole model thing, like knowing someone really matters. Like, I think my eyes are beginning to open. And stuff that now I'm starting to know is a lot more than when I was a resident. And it's pretty much interesting how somebody that has, like, I know somebody, her application is very weak, and it was one phone call, one actually email to the program director for her to get a family medicine interview. And she's almost certain to match because the person who wrote that letter for her talks, I mean, I kind of know a lot of now the intricate details that going into, I just started knowing this, being formed into all these selections and how it's been. And she's telling me the process and in her department. And another one was telling me how it works. So it really does go a long ways. I think it boils down to KISS, ASSING. And then the other thing is during interviews, there are standard interviews that are not so standard interviews. And I think I mentioned it earlier. One of the questions, as I mentioned, was something about are you married or whatever. One of my interviews was it started out number one, the PD came in late, 15 minutes. And the way he started was your parents must be selfish for having you. I'm like, yeah. I looked and I laughed. And I was like, because we have sickle cell in the family, I lost, some siblings. It is a fair question, whether I like it or not. It is a very fair, valid question. And he said it twice. Your parents must be selfish, especially your mother, for having you. I said, well, number one, during their time, they're both educated, but they made the best. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, they had me in Africa. Before I was opportunity to be raised here. But at the same time, they made the best with what it is they had done. They were both married at a young age, and I don't think they knew any better. But I'm sure if they were to do it over, they probably would have retaught it. And that's how I entered, and I kept going. It is life. I didn't imagine that program, but you can't help with some of these questions. I mean, I have some of these questions, and just how you answer matters. But you have to be practical about things. His question was valid, whether I like it or not. And then when it comes to specialties, if you put in your CV, in your personal statements, actually, that you like to do some, and then they're not asking your long-term goals and you deviate, you might come across like a bit of a liar. So you might need to frame it like he said, like, for example, if you're interested in cardiology, I'm interested in this, but I'm also open to exploring it further, determine if it's really what I want to do once I get into your program. But one way around this also is to go to the program and look at where the past residents have gone. A lot of the programs list the places where those residents have gone, what it is they've gone to do. So if a lot of those residents have gone in to do specialties, then you're on the safe route. But if they haven't, or if it's a program that's leaning more towards none, then you kind of know how to twist your words. So you kind of have to go by each program.
yeah.
That's the way to go. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Zoe.
Thank you so much.
That's
Oh, by the way, okay, it was sorry, pardon me. You know, JJ's pigeon is. I'm JJC when it comes to pigeon. I realized I saw you in the ACG, man.
Oh, really?
What you mean by really? Over there eating
Wait, I
breakfast.
can't see your face. Let me see.
You're not seeing anything. I'm not dressed.
No, no,
We're
yeah.
there eating breakfast.
Oh,
It was black breakfast. And yeah, I definitely saw you.
yeah. It was nice to meet you, even though I didn't meet you.
Yeah, remember you very well.
Yeah. So, are you interviewing for GI?
I made a mistake in my application. I didn't submit my research, so it says pending. But now I was told after I went there, I came back. I was told to submit in my program.
Okay.
I that's they will talk to me. So I don't know. I hope it's not late that I haven't made some mistake because that kind of discouraged me. Once I realized that I had 4 interviews last year and they complained about me having only 2 research.
Yeah.
But then this year I had 8 research. But it all says pending as opposed to published. I didn't
I
realize that,
see.
yeah, so I messed up. And so that kind of got me sad and that affected my interviews. But I was just told this past few days to give them those papers. I mean to send them an email.
Yeah, yeah. You can email the
Get my
programs with with some of the publications you have, and
Yeah, because I just found out and the rankings are coming up. So
oh God.
it
Okay.
is what it is. All
All
right.
right. Good
Thank you
luck.
guys.
Good
All
luck.
right. You tell.
Mhm. All right. So yeah, someone said so let's get back to the okay. The
because my
next
program
question.
is marching. My program is going to
No,
March 7.
no, before that, I think they
Oh,
said
is it required that a J1
they
visa
want visa
holder
holder who matches into
who,
fellowship
yeah, go ahead.
to leave the country for a J1 visa renewal. So the answer is simple. If you need the J1 visa stamp, you always have to leave the country. But you can stay back you can stay back if you don't need the visa stamp. You can, get your DS 2019 and start your training without an active visa. The visa, just what it does for you is it gives you room, or like it gives you the opportunity to travel or leave the country whenever you want to. That's the only thing it does for you. I think that's a straightforward answer.
Thank you.
Uh,
I think more like if you don't want to travel outside the country, if the village people are not trying to tempt you, then you don't have to.
yeah, you don't have to.
Mhm.
So yeah, and someone saying my program is yeah, I'm going to match 7 residents and they send out 90 invites. Um, so what happens to the other 83 applicants? So pretty much it's the same everywhere. For example, my my home GI program, they have 2 spots. They interviewed, I think, 24 candidates. So 12 person to 1 slot. So you see how it is. They know that this program is not the only program you're going to get interview at, pretty much. So at least every candidate has at least 3 or more, or 2, 3, 4 programs they're interviewing with. So I mean, if they rank you to match and you match there, good. Then the others that they rank to match who didn't match there will match somewhere else eventually. At the end of the day, and then some people unfortunately will still end up not matching, which is unfortunate, but that is the reality, and that's how it is. So every program typically would interview 10 times the number of positions they have, almost always.
That's like 10 candidates to one slot
Yes,
on the
almost
average.
that's the average. Yes, 10 to 1.
So I have
Um,
a question to what you just said,
yeah.
rank. I've heard that phrase, rank to match. So what's the difference between ranking and rank to match?
So my program, we have 17 spots. We typically interview roughly 150 candidates. Rank to match is they rank you from 1 to 17. So, for example, my program will interview 150 and they end up ranking 50 or 51. That's like 3 times 17. Or some programs will interview 150 and they end up ranking, let's say, call it 100. I don't know how many, I don't know if there's a cap on how many they can rank as programs, but they don't rank everyone who interviews. So ranking to match means in my program, they put you in 1 to 17 in their ranking. So if you're in 1 to 17, it means they want you to fill up one of the positions. If you match somewhere else, someone number 18 will come up and become 17. That is pretty much how it works. So rank to match means you're in the first 17.
So rank to match present means you are ranked within the number of slots they have.
Exactly. That's rank to match.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys.
Yeah, and to add to that, the reason why they would extend that ranking to 50 is because not exactly, you know how you are trying to rank a program depending on what your specifics are. Like if they are close to where you live, you don't need to move, or if they are sponsor J1 or H1B. So there are different reasons. Some of them maybe you apply to family medicine, but you also apply to MedPeace. So you are ranking MedPeace number one and ranking family medicine number 10, depending on how many interviews you got. So they are going to rank you, but you will not rank them. So they're going to rank up to 50 people because not all the first 17 is going to rank them equally. At the end of the day, as people are dropping or ranking them, then you'll be moving up. So 11 can move up and like, the 15 people, the 17th, the 20th number can move up and become the 17 as people are dropping off. So eventually, out of that 15, they're going to still get people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Cynthia. Dr. Onachukwu's comment is cracking me up. Says some programs interview 350 for 4 slots.
Wait, where? I can't see the comment.
To reply to
Okay.
another comment, it says some program interview 350 candidates for 4 slots.
Wait, I don't think this is legal. I don't think it's legal.
Crazy.
And no program would even do that. That's like a waste of resources.
I think it's just joking.
All
Any
right.
other question, guys?
Any questions?
Or comments or additions?
Sir, could I have a question again? In the letter of intent letter, just to confirm, I know people say put in what you want, like what you like about the program, your interest, maybe your experience and your scores. Is there any other thing? And I also know they say don't make it too lengthy to discourage them from reading it
Wait, are you putting your scores in letter of intent? Is it the one you do after interviews or the one before interview?
before interview.
Well,
Interest.
I don't know. I don't think putting your scores in letter of your scores are already in your application. Your AAMC ID is all they need.
Okay.
I think pretty much like and your AAMC ID, put it under your like signature, like your name, AMC ID. I don't know if it helps putting your scores in letter of intent. Like letter of intent is supposed to be something short that, hello, I'm reaching out because of my interest in your program. I've applied and signaled your program. And you mentioned a few things that you like about the program and how you would love to get an opportunity to interview with them and possibly train there. It should be short.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, additions, subtractions, if any? Because everybody is in having interview fever.
Yeah, but I think we're now in a season where people are now, getting zeroed into the interviews. People are prepared. It's a lot. One last thing I wanted to share is this. Um, I know I said it from the beginning. You like everyone is going to match in one position. We're going to take only one spot. So if you see a way to help someone else, please do. There are thousands of positions in the country. You are going to fill only one. So it's fine. If if you see a way to help someone else, if you help people around you who are going through the same process, you can't take more than one position, no matter how brilliant or no matter how strong of a candidate you think you are. So collaborate and do not compete. Please collaborate, do not compete. That is the last thing I'm going to say tonight, but please.
That's strong closing remarks, Dr. Nwaneki. Thank you for that. I think Dr. Zoe has something more to say.
So yeah, I'm actually gonna add to it. I'm glad you mentioned that. So for you to get to this point, you have to pat yourself on the back. Because if you don't match this year, apply next year, you likely match. And if you keep at it, no matter how many times you match, you will match. And I'm saying this because I know somebody. When it comes to feeling, they feel to the highest degree just by everything. Like when I mean feel, like not 1, 2, 3, 4, like the highest amount just about in each step. And when they pass, if the passing was 194, they score 195. I got into psychiatry, finished residency, and did not pass step 3. And then went into fellowship, continued, did not pass after that fellowship. And then had to do one extra exception before she finally passed. But she got in. And then for those that got in, especially we women, be careful about your hygiene. Again, it's something that's rarely talked about. Fortunately, one of my programs had a very good resident. The patients were talking about her hygiene, and it became more of her stigma. They had to call her aside to tell her to take showers. As a very pretty girl, but you need to take showers. So no matter how, especially your first year, how grueling or intense it is, take time to take care of your hygiene. I can't stress that enough. Please. Thank you.
And what Dr. Zoe just said, I had my boss in my current job told me about a resident who eventually was told to withdraw because of halitosis or something that patients kept complaining about. And this was told to me by my boss. We're just talking and he was saying the crazy things why they kick some residents out. And she told me this. I'm like, wow, that patients kept complaining. I don't know. Is that even legal to kick somebody out because of mouth odor? I mean, what Dr. Zoe just said now just made me remember what's that story.
Bro, they can kick you out for any reason. Trust me. And
Not me, they won't kick me out.
no, I mean they can kick people out for any reason.
I know, I'm joking.
And let's not even get into legal and illegal. You know how you don't even want to go into legal battles in this country. So, and that's why I mentioned when you start residency, stay in your lane, show up, establish a good reputation. It's going to help for the day you get into trouble. Because trouble will come for almost it comes whether you want it or not. One thing or the other will happen. But it's your reputation is what is going to save you. So Zoe, I agree with Zoe. Like again, you're a black person. You can't change that. And you're coming into training in a program in a country where, with the new climate of everything going on, it seems as if you committed a crime by being a black person or by being an immigrant. People are going to look for ways to discredit you. I know it's a lot of work trying to, you have to be at your best at every point, but we have come so far.
Yeah.
We have to see it through. So I agree with you. They can just to answer your question, they can kick people out for any reason. They have kicked people out because the nurses complained about them multiple times.
Crazy.
So you just have to establish a good rapport and a good reputation in your program so that you have your program leadership backing.
All right.
Again, do not complain about anybody with anybody. Go home, complain to your wall or your wife. If you don't have a wife, complain to the wall. But because you think you're gossiping with them, you're not.
Yeah.
Person go usually go buy favor of a bag.
Well, yes, and you're talking about kicking out, and I think one of the things that I usually encourage will be so, like how everybody has their different subgroup, right? So
Can
if
I
it's
stop
supposed,
can I stop the recording here?
okay, yes.